Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And confident.
Yeah.
Not intimidated by
I'll
you.
whoop his ass, but
yeah. He's respectful, but he's confident, and he's kind of like.
Let's take it back. Welcome on into another episode of
That's what they're
discussion show. We're going to talk about Andrew Tate viewpoint on marriage and some of the things I agree with, some of the things I may not agree with, or you guys may not agree with. But for the most part, I agree with what he's saying. The only thing I ask for you guys to do is smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate people sending me this to react to. So let's react to this. I believe this is going to be the last part of this interview, because this interview was at least about 2 hours long, an hour and a half, 2 hours long. So we break it down into section. I appreciate everyone for tuning on in. Let's get this party started. Hit the AirTag EMF protector as well if you want to support the channel a bit more. Let's go.
We're used to,
Of
right?
course. Of course.
They get married. 5 years later, they got 2 kids.
Okay.
She finds text messages. She finds out he's got a handful of girls on the side.
Yep.
You find out through your guys who run the clubs that they report, because people are going to, guys like us, we're going to be reported back. Everything's coming back to us.
Of course.
You find out he's hooked up with 3, 4, 5 girls on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Are you confronting him?
So I say this, and I've answered this question before, and people find my answer surprising, but I'm going to be very honest with you. My plan for my daughters and my number one hope for
now, if you have a daughter, right, and you have a son, it could be 2 different things, right? Me, if I have a daughter, or when I have my daughter, right, I will let her know, look, your best thing to do is to find someone successful, save your virginity, because that's going to be your highest treasure, right? Men care about those type of things, right? We don't want a woman with a lot of body counts or very highly mischievous. If you're not a pimp or anything along that nature, we're talking about someone that you want to procreate with or anything along that nature. Have kids, a plethora of kids, right? I will let my daughter know this. And let me know if you guys, I want to know what you guys think about it, but this is just my ideology, right? Everyone live their life differently, but I believe this would be the right thing to do. Have the conversation with her. Look, at a certain age, your virginity is something that men will prize, right? So you don't want bodies on you. You don't want any homicides, any murders. You don't want any bodies on you. Keep that down to a minimum, bare minimum, right? In fact, I see why some culture court their kids onto who they plan on marrying in XYZ just to add fortune to the family. I kind of see why that is so important, because if you have an underage child and you're teaching them how to do adult-like things, first and foremost, their brains are underdeveloped. Their brains will be considered underdeveloped. So I will let my daughter know, hey, keep your virginity, find a nice, successful man. Once you find this nice, successful man, attach yourself to him or do what a woman would do. Your mom should have taught you well as far as cooking, cleaning, adding value to the man, everything along that nature. How to be feminine, fit, friendly, all those things, right? And then that's your best bet. Now, hopefully you guys will get married and make sure that you're well taken care of. That's the thing. Now, she might say, well, Dad, what if I want him all to myself? Well, I will let her know, well, baby girl, it doesn't really work like that, especially if you have a successful man. Let's just be real. It doesn't work like that, right? As long as you're protected, as long as you're provided for, as long as you're committed to the man, as long as you should have any worries at all. Right? What the man do, let the man do. Don't try to be like the man, because you have a lot of these modern day females who, well, if he can do it, I can do it. It doesn't work like that, because you're not him and he's not you. In fact, your genetic makeup is somewhat different. So don't try to be something that you're not. You can't take on those, get rid of those emotions. Or let's just say that a woman have sex with a lot of men. Their spirit is imprinted on you. So when you think that you're happy and you're sad and you're going in and out of these things, it's because there's too many impressions on you. right? Like a guy could tell when there's too many impressions on you. You're getting mad for no reason. You want to create confrontation. You're really fighting a spiritual war. We're just looking at you in the physical for these smart, educated, and intellectual men. So I would let my daughter know that, stick to him if you're going to provide, protect, if he don't abuse you, anything along that nature. If you're well kept, if everything is going how you need it to go. But if you deemed control over a man and governance, that's not your role. Baby girl, that is not your role, right? That's a man's role. So that's just my opinion. Let's see what Andrew has to say about it.
My daughters, if I could plan their lives head to toe, would be for them to, at a relatively young age, meet a man who is older than them, who can take care of them financially and get pregnant and have a family. If my 21-year-old daughter wanted to marry a 48, 50-year-old guy, I'd be very happy with that. Like, good. He's probably settled down a bit. He has enough money to take care of you. You're going to be good. In this scenario, which you've just described, if the man is financially providing for her, if he's offering her provision and protection and she's safe, I would truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, say to her, look, there's no point losing the man who's paying for you, who takes care of you, who will die for you, who protects you, who does all of those jobs as a man because he's running around with a few silly girls. There's no point leaving him. You can confront him, we'll talk to him, but there's no point in destroying your family home over this. That's what I would say. People may think I'm not telling the truth, but I'm telling you that's what I would genuinely.
I think that's well said. Like, why destroy the family when you don't have to? I mean, you're going to deal with it from another guy anyway, if he's the guy that you actually pursuing, you actually like, right? You may have a certain class of men that you like. So why? And then most of the time now, we're in America, which means that the system is designed against men. That's what I personally believe, based on just the laws. If I'm just reading what's going on, it's more favoritism towards the woman, right? They get the rights, they get the incentivized to actually break up the family. And I think that's the worst thing on earth. It is, because one day you might feel like you don't need the person. A couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, you might find out that you really actually like the person. So now you're going back and forth, and you can't do what's already done. You can undo what's already done. Then you got the courts in your business. I think as men, you don't need, if you're marrying a woman nowadays, right? Don't do it legally. It's no point. I'm not saying don't protect, provide, make sure she good, make sure the kids are well off. I'm not saying that. Always be a man, because people look at men as like, well, we're supposed to be happy. I don't look at men like that, right? As a man, I think that we don't really care about happiness. I enjoy when I see other people happy. That kind of makes me want to keep going. That's what makes me keep going. I think being happy is a woman thing. They care about being happy and how they feel. And, because at the end of the day, happiness is a feeling. Do you think a guy is happy every day getting up, going to work, providing, doing this, doing that, right? It may not bring, he may like the ending result of saying, you know what, the fact that she's happy, she's well kept, the kids are good, private school, they got the car, Bentley, whatever they want. That may make a man happy. Building his legacy, building his dynasty, those things, right, can convert to happiness. But at the end of the day, we celebrate hard work. As a man, that's just how I think, right? I'd rather go through the hard work and pat myself on the back like that, rather than saying, well, I have to be happy, because doing these things don't truly make you happy. And that's not even what we're looking for. We're no females, but society, modern day society, have tricked us all to make you see, hey, are you happy in your relationship? Are you this, that, the third, XYZ? I mean, you can be if you choose to be, but as a man, that's not what you're actually looking for. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know what you think.
You would say, we talk about marriage. There's a really great guy on Twitter, Devin Erickson, I think his name is. Everyone follow him. And he replied to my video I made on Elon Musk. No, that's not him. That's a little dork.
From Nebraska.
That's a little nerd from Nebraska. That's one of the pastor's kids. That's one of the pastor's sons. We don't need them.
Devin Erickson almost got a shout out. Okay, that guy's not a dork. All right.
Find his reply. I would like to read this verbatim, please. Find his reply to my Elon video where I explain that having children is the business of kings. Please find, he did a thread breakdown of it. This is about 2 weeks ago.
I like how you said that right there. Having children is a business of kings. And it is. I look at women as being the soil, right? I look at men as being the seed, right? Nothing get planted. You can't plant something. That's why I believe in like man and woman as far as the only two genders, right? Because in order for this world to grow, a woman has to be the soil, a man has to be the seed. Without the seed, it's no point of the soil. And without the soil, it's no point of the seed. But yet we're living in a world, in this modern day world, who's trying to compare and contrast and trying to switch roles, right? I believe that's demonic. I believe that that's destruction to the human race at the end of the day. So if we want to make this, we're supposed to make this place fruitful, right? The number one thing, and that's why I believe some people are out of alignment and out of drive, because they're not being fruitful at all. You know, I plan on at least having a lot of kids, because I think about it and I thought about it and I said, well, if you could protect, provide, and make sure all the kids are good, why not have plenty of kids? You need your genetics. You need, like I say, and I agree with what Andrew said, having kids are it's for kings.
Go. His reply to my Elon video, if you can find it, that's not it, there's another one. If you can find it, I would love to read it verbatim, because he explains something which is so pertinently important. It's extremely important. So we'll find it. But he talks about what marriage effectively is.
While he's looking for it, do you have a summary?
Yeah. So what he's saying is people will say Andrew has a bunch of baby mamas and that he's irresponsible. But truthfully, a man's true obligations are protection and provision. This is why the Bible said if you rape a woman, you have to marry her. People see that as, oh, that's bad for the woman. But what they were trying to do is say to men, you're responsible for what you create. You now need to protect her. You must provide for her because of what you've done. It was almost like marriage was not a punishment for the man, but an obligation for the man. And he was explaining that marriage throughout the longest period in human time was protection and provision. That's all it was. A king could have more wives because he could protect and provide for more wives. He's saying marriage was not bouquets. Marriage was not remembering anniversaries. Marriage was not date nights. Marriage was not holding hands. Marriage was, do I protect you? Do I provide for you? So he effectively defended me and said, Andrew does not have a bunch of baby mamas. He has a bunch of wives because they're all paid for. They're all protected. They all have private security. They're all in mansions. They all drive Bentleys. He's doing his job as a man. That's what a man is supposed to do.
But according to the American society, that's why I don't believe in the modern world is they say, well, if you're not legally married, then you're not married at all. Why would, to me as a man, why would you want a third party in your relationship? You automatically cheated. That's the definition of cheating. Why would you want a third party in your relationship that can govern you, that the lady can check in with to say, hey, I want the kids. I would like half of your assets just in case. It's literally set up against you when you read the paperwork. So I say, men, if you're getting married today, this is my advice, right? Don't legally get married. You don't need to. But protect your woman, protect your family. Make sure you're providing for your family. And if you decide to have more kids and you want to branch out of that, rightfully do so. Rightfully do so, because that's literally your job on earth. You can't take the money with you. You can't take none of these lavish things with you. You can't take a successful business with you. That's their only job on earth, is to basically procreate, build something for the next generation. That's it. And don't have the courts involved in your life, because to me, that doesn't make sense. That actually destroys a dynasty, just destroys an empire, destroys the legacy. When you have a third party involved, right, that's not in the family best interest, which I consider that to be the court system, then why even get them involved at the beginning? Just don't get them involved at all. You know, you have people overseas or different places that they don't marry to the state. They don't marry to the country. They simply say, hey, that's my wife. We have kids. It's only in America. Oh, that's my baby mom. That's my baby dad. What? Does that even make sense? Right? Because you're creating subcategories, right? Which actually in reality is mind effing you. To me, it's mind effing you, because that really don't exist. If you have a child by a woman, that's your wife, no matter how you look at it. Legally, people say, well, you guys not legally married. What? When did you have to involve the courts? You don't ever need to involve a third party in your business. That's when everything get misconstrued. So I'm for it, but not legally. Let me repeat. I'm for it, but not legally. I'm for protecting, providing for your family, right? But it shouldn't be a legal obligation. Now, if you can't protect and provide, then there's no point of having kids. It's no point. If you can't protect and provide and provide for more than one family, then it's no point. That's what I'm saying. It's no point, because you're not living up to the task. So to me, you will get cursed on that behalf. But if you can live up to the task and do what you got to do, I see no problemo with that.
So I would say to my daughter, are your bills paid? Now, if he cuts the money off, or if he refuses to help her or protect her, if he leaves her in the ghetto, that's a different conversation. But if my daughter came to me and said, Dad, say, yes, what's up, my love? I'm living in my mansion and I'm driving my Bentley and I have my 4 nannies and my private security guards. And I found out that my ultra rich husband has a little girlfriend who's 19 and I'm 36 now. And he has his little young, hot, cute girl. I'd say, don't stress him out and piss him off. Just give him 2 days off a week and get over it. That's what I would say. That's the truth. That's what I would say.
Well,
welcome to the real world. It may not be nice, it may not be pretty. The real world isn't, but at least you're paid for, at least you're taken care of.
Is this it, Rob?
Yes.
You want to read this? Okay. Time to take a break. Shut down and give some context. Andrew Tate in this video gives us the what. Here's the why. Trad cons don't know what marriage is or what it's for, because they think traditional means 100 years ago. The white Christian European model of marriage isn't traditional marriage at all. It's a redesign, a redefinition of marriage. It's marriage 2.0. We'll see how in a minute. First, we need to admit that marriage isn't instinctive. There are species that mate for life, sandhill cranes and whatnot. Monogamy isn't a struggle for them. It's instinctive. They just do it. Humans do not instinctively mate for life. They just mate. The men mate when they can impress women. Women mate when they are impressed by men. And the women of the hominid pack babysit each other's children. Fast forward to the beginning of a Neolithic era. Now, all of a sudden, they're actually something to own. Fields, cattle, buildings, wealth, and men own the wealth because they were the ones who did stuff you need to do to get it. Why the men? Because men had to impress women to mate. All women have to do is mate to be impressed. But since property was Neolithic, humans survived, and men had all the property, mating arrangements had to adapt so that a mother could eat and a son could be raised and inherit the father's cattle. If a man put a child in a woman, she was his wife. If he put a child in another woman, she was also his wife.
That part, not this new term that we have, which only came up just around under 100 years ago, right? Baby mom, baby dad. That is so belittling. Who actually wants to do that? Once you have a kid by somebody, that's your wife. Once you have a kid by somebody, that's your husband. Why? Because that's the highest honor, right? That's literally the highest honor. Don't, oh, well, since you're not that and we have to make profit off of marriage, then we're going to make a subtitle and that's going to be where you guys stand until you legally get married in the system. And then what? This is the same system that's designed against men. So why would it be in your best interest? Doesn't make sense to me. It may make sense to you, but let me know what you think.
If he put a child in 100 women, he had 100 wives.
Fact.
And those women and children could rely on his spear for defense and his fields and cattle for support. That's marriage. If you want to understand this context, look at the part of the Bible that says a man who rapes him. Oh, this is what you were talking about. Yeah. Got it. Sounds insane if you go through it. Modern Arab Americans run comments about ancient people didn't care about romance and made choice. They were busy trying to. Okay. So by the way,
you know what I call it? It's the side effect of capitalism because people want to make money out of everything nowadays. It's the side effect of capitalism. That's what marriage is to me. It's the capitalistic theory. It involves money. The courts get paid if you get divorced. The women get paid. The family, get separated, and then the statistics start running rampant. which means that your daughter might be doing XYZ now, no guidance. Your son might be in prison because he don't have any guidance as well, or maybe too emotional, XYZ. Maybe have to be a son husband. It's so many different things that's created by this rape. Anything along that nature is created by the fact that the family structure isn't what it's supposed to be, because you have something called capitalism that's actually incentivized for the pros and the cons of marriage, which is considered a business. You get it? So we have to jump outside of that mindset if we really want to fix it. Some people say we might want to update the family court laws. Why even involve the court in the first place? Tell them update that. Why even involve the court in the first place? Tell them upgrade that. And then now I think Trump, what he's doing is, and a lot of people are pissed about this, is that I believe he started out in Florida. A woman can't have half of your assets. Whatever she came in the relationship is what she's leaving in the relationship with, right? Which mostly women is not going to come with anything, but who cares what they come with? Like, as long as they can add value and make things peaceful and XYZ and supportive, and they can follow direction, like, I don't really think a man truly cares what a woman come with, because I don't think they're trying to bank on the woman. Now, if you give her a task and she complete that task, then yes. If she can complete tasks, then that's all you need out of a woman. A task completer. That's it. Everything else, a man gonna have to do. And we have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. The only thing, if she can't listen and follow directions, then she's gonna make it hard. And no one really wants that. When every day you got to go out and fight as men, battle every day. You know, you might lose some, you might win some, right? You might lose the battle, but eventually you're going to win the war if you stay persistent and consistent. So that's just my thoughts on it, right? I think the legal way of doing it is out the window, because to me, the legal way should be illegal. Because put it on a scale, right? Let's put it on a scale, right? Does it produce better families, it being legal, or does it harm most families? And to me, as far as the modern way of doing it, it's harming more family than it is helping it. So let's go back to the ways where why even get the courts involved. The court itself is a business, right? And you can court yourself. Let's continue.
By the way, you know Amor, remember Amor? Did you ever meet Amor or no?
No.
You definitely know Amor.
Of course, yeah.
Amor would come from here. Amor's an Armenian man who was my chief compliance officer.
Love Amor.
Love Amor. When we sold the company and he got
It's
$1
cool
million
name,
check,
Amor.
yeah, it was a great
him
name.
and
And
Tom
by the way,
were great roommates.
that name matches exactly who you think he is.
Yeah.
Ladies loved him.
I bet.
Armenian guy with an accent who would speak French,
Yeah, he was French.
and he would call all the girls darling,
Hello.
darling, hey darling, and they would just fall in love with this guy.
Yeah.
He
Does yoga.
explained this was the purpose of man. It's purely mating. He would always explain this. That's what it's about. Back in the days,
Facts.
the guys who had it, their job was to mate. Now, we are living in a different era.
Of course
today.
we are.
So the mindset has changed slightly on what they're thinking. I added two other things. I added intentionality, accessibility to kids so they can get a hold of you, love, and example. Partly kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and accessibility is also a very important one. I'll be honest. Like, if a lot of this comes down to money, but I don't want to be shallow, but so much in life comes down to money, because money is your capability to do many things, right? There's no way you can effectively raise that many children without a huge source of money. Of course, it's very expensive to do. But if you do have a huge source of money, I think Amor and I would have a very long conversation about the fact that cars get boring and watches get boring, and you may as well have a whole bunch of children. You may as well have a whole bunch of sons if you can afford to raise them, and you have the time. You can take the time out of work because you're rich enough to put effort and focus into them. I'm not looking to just have children and abandon them. I'm not trying to just create genetic progeny that are forgotten about.
Right.
The Tate boys need effort. The Tate boys need energy. The Tate boys need money because they're the Tate boys. But I like to think I can afford 20. So that's what I'm going to do. And women, and this is something else we have to discuss about women, because this actually ties back into the human trafficking and the feminism and all these things. Women are in a very interesting position now in Western society where they are equals, while also being better than us because they're girl bosses, while also being children, because every time they make a decision that other people don't like or they end up not liking, they didn't do it, someone tricked them. So we're in this 3-phase garbage scenario.
And I agree with that. Feminism has run rampant, right? That's why I say, and to me, feminism is part of the court system and the legal marriage system. It's all feministic approach. It's no point. It is no point to fall for the trap. There's no point.
Scenario where women are better than you, plus children, plus you're equal. Because when I say that the women I'm with are happy for me to have children with other women, you've tricked them. They're full-grown adults. I thought they were our equal. I thought they could come up to their own conclusions. I thought they could sit there and go, you know what? A life from Andrew Tate. I get to be one of the most famous men in the world. He's extremely security conscious. I get to be very rich. I know my kids are going to be brown, sexy, tall, strong. They're going to have Patek Philippe's, diamonds, etc. It's fine. That's their decision to make, right? But people are going to pretend that I fooled them somehow. And I actually think this is an interesting segue into how we fix modern society. And one of the most important distinctions we need to make as a civilization in the West, because all of our problems, from false rape charges, which I know a lot about, to feminism, to all of this garbage, comes down to this impossible scenario where women are girl bosses and better than men at everything, while also being our equal, while also needing DEI to get anywhere, while also being children who are permanently tricked into everything. And this is a really interesting scenario to be in. And I can give you a very simple example. If there's a crazy bitch, woman, Megan, if there's a crazy woman, right? And she's nuts and she takes Valium to sleep every night and she's on mental health medication and she drinks all the time and she's crazy and everyone knows she's a hoe. She's been with all the guys in town and I marry her. And then she divorces me and takes half my money. And I come to you guys and go, guys, I used to be rich. Had to cut the spaghetti in half. I lost it. She took all my money. You will sit and say to me, why did you marry her? She's nuts. Everyone knows she's nuts. You will blame me, right? Whereas if a woman goes out, takes drugs, gets high, gets drunk, goes to the club, kisses 4 men, kisses the 5th man, gets in the taxi with him, goes back to the hotel, initiates sex with him, has sex with him, has no problem with that sex, asks him for a handbag 2 years later. He says no, then cries rape. No one will say, why did you do all those things? Why were you high? Why were you in his hotel? Why did you have sex with him? Instead, we'll say, that man's a predator. Why? We always blame the man. Women are not held accountable ever. It's always the man's fault all of the time. My argument to that.
And that's true. I must agree. Accountability is something that they all lack. Accountability is something that they all lack. They do something, it's automatically victim. I did this because you didn't pay me. No, you're an adult. You did this because you wanted to do these things. Right? And it's totally okay. But see, consequences are consequences. You don't get to pick the consequences. You can't just do what you want and think that it's no, I look at it like this. So every action is the equal or opposite reaction. You can't do what you want and expect no action or repercussion for those things. You can't. Life doesn't work like that. If I decided to go shoot someone, right, figuratively speaking, it's a consequence for that. Especially if it's not just. It's literally a consequence for that. Now, some people might get away with it, but then some people are going to have mental issues. So did you really get away with it? Probably not. Right? Probably not. You know, in your reality, you know what you have done, and that's just the bottom line. So men are held accountable for every single little thing, but then in this modern world that we have, woman is supposed to be somewhat equal, which I don't agree with that stance, because how can two total opposite things be equal in any form or way? I think that's manipulation within itself. And they're actually lying to the woman, right? And I believe that this actually comes from the liberal white woman. I believe that most people, Black, Indian, especially Black, right? They try to be something that they're not, especially, and they wonder why, well, I'm going to get the bag. I'm a boss chick, XYZ. That comes from a liberal white woman. You've been brainwashed and bamboozled. You just haven't figured it out yet. Because they was one of the first class of people to actually disrespect their men. And they say, you know what, if we're not married, this, that, the third, just to have some form of control over their men. They humiliated the white man. Absolutely. We can prove this, right? So their ideology went over to feminism, which then went over to all racial groups in the world. It's to spread like a virus, right? Let me know. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know what you really think about that. Because you're acting and being something that you're truly not. Let's continue. And I'm sure they just laugh.
That is, if that's the paradigm, if the men are permanently the only ones we blame for anything, then how can you make women better than us at everything and give them any kind of autonomy? You have to either say to women, listen to your father, then listen to your man, because you don't know good for yourself. Or you have to say, you know good for yourself, so you're responsible for the scenarios you find yourself in. All of the world's problems come from the fact that we're picking and choosing, like Schrodinger's cat, picking and choosing at random, depending on the scenario, whether a woman is better than a man or a completely helpless child who is fooled all of the time. And when you apply this to society, there's not a single problem you can't tie back to this exact thing. And it's scary and it's dangerous. There's not a single man on the planet now in the Western world that can even truthfully get consent to have sex, because consent can be retrospectively taken back. So you could be a man and meet a woman and have sex with her and have a full happy relationship. You could be with her for 2 years and you could be together and she can live with you and everything could be fine. And then the second she doesn't like you, she can say to the police, he abused me. Like, did he abuse you? Well, he didn't hit me, but he emotionally abused me.
Oof. Whoa.
How? What does that mean? I felt sad sometimes. Okay, arrest him. What? This is an impossible scenario for a man to be in. This is why also I have my women, I have my wives. I'm done. All these beautiful Instagram models, stop begging. I'm sorry. I'm done. I don't trust any of you. I'm done. Because if I talk to any new girl, it's going to be great until I don't buy the handbag. It's going to be great till I don't put her on that jet because another girl's on that jet. Now I got all these problems and I've had enough. So I'm done with women. But isn't it absolutely insane that we're living in a world now where no one wants to address the fact that women can weaponize the legal system to destroy men absolutely at random? And
you know what I honestly think too, the side effect of this is, right? Because most of the men with their common sense, they get tired of women quite fast. But now you got homos, right? You got things along that nature, because this is what comes from the root. Solve for the root issue. The root issue would be feminism. You have the lack of population, which means let people are reproducing at a lower rate. That causes that as well. You have testosterone to drop. That causes that as well. All stem from feminism. Just saying. So at the ultimate end, they actually altered reality. Just saying. Just saying. And this world won't work without men, because the things that we use on a day-to-day basis is in a modern society are mostly built by men. So I don't understand how you're going to destroy the group or the essence of a group or the energetic level of a group that actually makes society flourish. Doesn't make sense to me, as if you don't want society to flourish. But let me know what you guys think. What's your viewpoint on feminism? How far back can you trace it back? How many problems stems out of it? That's what I ultimately want to know. Is it 5, 10, 15? Is it most problems? Right? Is it most problems? Let me know your thoughts on feminism. I think it's a dangerous thing. It's a game that men should never play. It's a game that the world should never have. It's a divide and conquer mechanism at the end of the day. That's what I truly believe. But it's not about what I think. I want to know what you guys think.
Do it to every single man. This is why they attacked me with sexual crimes, because even the accusation is enough for them to get what they want, which is to damage your reputation. And they can simply do it by lying by omission. Let me ask you a question as a professional. Let's be pertinent. Let's be smart here. If I'm the police and I want to destroy a man, and I call 100 women who he's ever known, and 99 say he's a great guy, and 1 says he's a bad guy, I don't have to mention that 99 said he's a great guy. I can lie by omission. I can ignore all 99 who defended him, all 99 who say he's a great guy, all 99 who says the one other girl is a psycho liar. We can ignore that too. We can take this one girl and destroy the man. What's this one girl's motivation? Well, he's no longer giving her money. He's famous. He's rich. He's well known. He's living his life. He has a new girlfriend. Let me ask you this, and I don't even know the answer. What percentage of women are on mental health medication? What percentage of women are depressed?
A lot.
You think women don't lie? I would argue, and I'm going to guess, 17 to 24% of women are on drugs because they can't control their own brains. But we're going to listen to the one we find out of 100 saying a man's a bad guy because he made her feel sad once 4.5 years ago. Destroy this man? Do you not understand that this paradigm, 17.7%. I'm a genius. I'm a genius.
56% receive mental health treatment.
Then half of them are nuts. I'm a genius. So this is my point. No, but let's understand why has
56% of women receive mental treatment. That's another thing. So not only, right, that's another feminism creates profit. It creates profit for the pharmaceuticals as well. I didn't know that fact. That's why I say, how many things, let's answer this question. I really want to know. How many things, right? So for the root issue, how many problems, right, does feminism create? And if it create problems, right, can I get some solutions? Because what businesses are studying feminism to put themselves in the right position to make profit? Because profit is made by, to me, solutions and or problems. But you first have to diagnose the problem in order to get the solution. Because that's crazy. 56% of women are on mental health medication. Whoa. I see why most of them bananas. I see why most can be very delusional. I see it. And it's not even you, sweetheart. It's not. You can blame the alcohol or you can blame the medication. Or you can literally say, you know what? Let me finally take accountability. Perhaps it is me. Just saying. Let's continue. This one was a good one.
The Matrix put this paradigm together. Why do they allow and continue to tell us
Profit.
that women are better than us to destroy masculinity?
Profit.
They're equal to us, even though they need DEI. And at the same time, they're children who are susceptible to our godlike powers to control their minds, and that we're responsible for all of their decisions. It's very simple. Because by putting together that paradigm, they can pick any man at random they don't like. Me, Trump, Hegseth, I think, had this. Matt Gaetz had this. They can pick any man at random they don't like. They can call every girl he's ever known, and they can get a criminal case. That's how they do it. Let me tell you something else about women. This happened to me. I had women who didn't even intend to rat on me, and they didn't. But the police bring them in. Women are not prepared for 10-hour police interviews. If you bring a woman in and go, did Andrew ever hurt you? No. Did he ever abuse you? No. He's abusive to women. Well, he wasn't abusive to me. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Well, did he ever make you sad? Well, we argued sometimes. Yeah, so that's abuse. Well, I don't think it is. Well, when you were sad, what did you do? Well, we just went out. You just ignored me, went to work. With another girl, right? Yeah, I think so. After 10 hours, they end up believing they're a victim. They brainwash them.
That's true.
And they know what they're doing. The police are trained to do this.
That's true.
So they can get that one chick to wreck your life with. And this is what's extremely important. Anyone who understands the world, they do this on purpose so that no man is safe, because it is the warriors, the men. Now, if you're the kind of man who's going to stand up and fight against the system and fight against the Matrix and resist enslavement,
They don't like
have
it.
you had sex? Probably. You're probably not an incel virgin, right? You're probably the kind of guy who knows some chicks. That's the attack vector always. They go, Andrew Tate, girls. Hegseth, girls. Matt Gaetz, girls. Trump, girls. They use women. They weaponize them against men. And this is something that not a lot of people understand. And it's scary, and it's something we need to fix. As a society, we have to make a decision. Are women sentient beings? Do women come to their own conclusions or not? Let's talk about human trafficking. Let's talk about human trafficking. Nobody who's accusing me and tweeting these stupid things even knows my fucking charges. I thought human trafficking, I didn't know what human trafficking was. I thought human trafficking was getting someone, beating them up, putting them in chains, dragging them somewhere, keeping them chained up, and forcing them to do something, sex or wash dishes, whatever. That's what I thought human trafficking was. But in this insane subjective world where women are children who can be fooled into anything, they're saying human trafficking is, no, you used the lover boy method. You were nice to her. And because you were nice to her and you used financial incentives to make her do something, you're telling me I was nice to my girlfriend and bought her a handbag and that made her do something? And that's human trafficking? Guys, analyze this. If you are nice to a woman and buy her a present and she does anything ever, even if you didn't tell her to do it, they could say, he made her do that. He made her have TikTok. And even if she says, no, he didn't make me have TikTok, like the girls in my case saying, no, he didn't hurt us. The girls in my case are defending me. Doesn't matter what you say, he brainwashed you. He made you have TikTok because he bought you handbags.
You want
Guys,
why?
please understand. No man.
That's because they want to paint a narrative, especially if you're a man, right? And if you're a manly man, they don't like that. And just because they don't like it, it don't mean that I'm gonna stop being a man, because why? I was born that way. So why would I want to even be anything else but that? They figured out, okay, we're going to use the woman to get the man weak. And if the man is weak, he's no longer masculine. Not knowing that man don't think emotionally, we think very logical. And we kind of know the program that you're running. It's self-evident. You do the same thing to everyone in power. The absolute same thing. It's the same playbook. If I was watching a sports channel, I'll let you know this is what they do to PSYOP the entire world. It's the same play. And they own these same medias that spread the same propaganda on the same channel. Like all the channels say the same thing at the same time. That's mass brainwash. But that's a whole nother thing.
Man is safe from this bullshit. No man is safe.
Fact.
And that's why they keep this so vague. People talk about consent all the time. You need to get consent, get consent. How can you get something they can take away years later? You can't get consent. That's why a huge proportion of the men, the young men in the world today, are just checking out girls and checking out sex. Like, oh, fuck this. It's a mess. I'm not even getting involved in it. I can't blame them. It's a minefield. Nobody's safe from this garbage. Absolutely nobody.
Nowadays, more.
And I believe that. You got to be careful, especially young gentlemen, people just coming up, young kids, young adults. Be very careful. Be very mindful. Be very careful. Be very mindful. Most family structures nowadays, especially in the Western world, don't even have a man in the household. So you have to be very, very careful. Mostly women don't even know how to be a woman because they wasn't even taught. Right? Or they may have been touched when they was younger or anything along that nature. They don't. Let's just say that it's safe to say that they don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. Right? That's why I look at it like this. It's good to know what background your woman came from, right? If she grew up in a 2-family household, you may have an easier time with her. If she grew up in a single family household, the dad wasn't in the life, it may be ultra wicked. First, I used to like when women call me daddy and this, that, the third. Nowadays, I actually don't like it because I think about it. Every woman that actually called me that had daddy issues. Every woman. So now I tell them, save my name in your phone as boss, because I want to see if you can complete a task or two. The more tasks you complete, the more I'm gonna like you. Especially if those tasks is beneficial to me. Think about it. So I'm done with the plan daddy fixing and, oh, let me see, this happened or that happened. Let me see if I can fix it. This, that, the third. Not doing that. You live and you learn. We're not doing that. We're not doing that at all, right? We're not doing that at all, because I've noticed 10 out of 10. I could say 10 out of 10. And all of them took different time for me to figure it out. And I said, damn, all the women that called me daddy actually had daddy issues. Sad to say, but it's the sad truth. On that note, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is the beginning. This is not the end. Another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. I'm going to leave the link down below. You guys can go check out PBD Valuetainment out. I believe that he does an awesome job of bringing things together and bringing different perspectives for us to have this healthy discussion about. On that note, peace, blessings, and love. Hit the AirTag EMF protector. I appreciate the audience, and you know how I like to end it.